Serving as a U.S. Army recruiter was one of my most rewarding assignments. But I would tell you, one of the most rewarding things to happen is when you find out one of your former future soldiers had their own success story. That story is coming up next. Trust and believe. Today's episode of the NOMADCAST, again, just like yesterday, it's a little different. It's another interview. I caught up with one of my old future soldiers from my time as a U.S. Army recruiter in Detroit, and she's going to share her success story. That interview is coming up next. Trust and believe. Trust and believe. You are tuned into episode 123 of the NOMADCAST. I'm your host, Mr. Anderson, and I have a special guest today, a fellow Detroiter. You know, so that's all love right there. I will tell you just a little snapshot about everything. She was my former future soldier when I was a recruiter in the Army back in Detroit. And I will tell you, she was one of the few future soldiers who did everything they could to attend future soldier training, no matter what. I was a staff sergeant at the time, so Staff Sergeant Anderson, I'm going to be at future soldier training tomorrow. I'm like, well, training is canceled. Well, I'm going to be there anyway. And then she started working at the local McDonald's in Detroit. And as soon as she got off work, she wanted to attend future soldier training. Days off, she wanted to attend future soldier training. So I would tell you, as a staff sergeant, looking at her as a junior enlisted, I knew she was going to pay dividends in the Army and also her post-Army career. So with that being said, let me introduce former Army specialist, Ms. Jazz, to the NOMADCAST. What's up, Ms. Jazz?
Hey, it is I.
What's going on? So how's everything been going?
It is going one day at a time. Mission first, as the Army would say.
Oh, Lord, I'm having flashbacks hearing that. It's like, oh. So how's the family?
Good. We are good working through. We just had a recent passing in the family, so we're working through that. But
my
God is good.
as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So we just working through one day at a time, still trying to keep up in my now civilian life. But God is good. God is good. We can't complain.
All the time. I always tell people, anytime you're north of the grass, that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm. You know Count your blessings and small victories.
Small victories, man. Small victories. All right. So you ready to get started?
I am. I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right. So let's start from the beginning. Let's start from scratch, as my grandmother used to say. Let's talk about your upbringing. What was your upbringing like?
So I had it it's real seesaw effect, right? My parents were never together.
Yeah.
Definitely had a friendship, but that was it. They are like night and day. So my mom super lax. I used to consider in my head every man for themselves with my mom, you know.
Yeah.
So you got dinner, you wake yourself up, you hear the alarm, you know what you need to do. Mm-hmm. I'm not following behind you. So we had a lot of freedom with my mom. And that was back home in Detroit.
Right.
So my dad, on the other hand, he ended up leaving Michigan around the time I was in about middle school, high school. I left to go to California to be with him. And he was, like I said, completely different than my mom. He was a drill sergeant. So my daddy, he didn't put it in me early, like you go into the military. He just let it be known that I would not have the support had I chose other options.
Right.
My parents was not rich. I watched my mama work from sun up to sundown. My dad was a truck driver, still a truck driver. So he sacrificed a lot of time away. So I knew that I wouldn't have the opportunity to indulge on a college career.
Right.
Not if I wanted to stay broke. So I was like, I'm leaving. So early on, I think about my 10th grade, I was like, I'm going to the military. I got my first D in chemistry and was like, I can't do this no more. So everything after 10th grade was just geared toward going to the Army. My 17th birthday, I was like, they were like, what you want to do? I'm a twin. For anybody who don't know, I'm a twin. And they asked us both, like, what you want to do? What y'all want for your birthday? And my twin had all these lavish requests and gifts, and I was like, just take me to the recruiting office, please.
Exactly.
That's all I want to do. So I turned 17. They did. My parents signed me up for the military. That was my birthday gift, and I was a happy camper until I graduated.
Yeah.
I graduated. I ended up leaving California. At the time, I was doing some pageants my senior year. I ended up winning like a really big one. My dad was pissed off, like, you ain't doing no pageant, you going to the Army. And I was like, Daddy, I'm gonna go to the Army. The Army not going nowhere. It'll be here when I get done. And I felt like it was my chance to just indulge on college a little bit. They had gave me a scholarship. It was about $20,000, and I had a lot of sponsorship at the time. So all of this, you won't have the support thing that my parents were, this whole facade that I didn't have the support. I was like, y'all lying. I got a whole city behind me. I can do this.
Yeah.
And, everything is just not what it seems. Racism is still very real. I hate to say it, but it is.
It is.
And I won't even care to dig. I just had a good experience overall. It's just not nothing that I wanted to continue to do. I didn't have the support to continue to do it. So I ended up giving up the crown. I came back to Detroit when I was 17, and that's when you met my mom. And we met you when I came to that recruiting station. My dad was nothing like my mom. So my dad was all like, he never was wrapped up in anything I had going on with the Army. He just was like, whatever you need to do, make sure you're doing it. If you need something, let me know. My mom, no.
Yeah.
She was riding shotgun. She needed answers. She might as well have been shipping out with me.
Yeah. I remember that.
Right. So like my first day, like I wasn't home 2 days, and my mom was like, we going to the recruiting station. Make sure you leave it because you're not staying here. You got to get out. You got to get out. You don't need to be here. And we came to the recruiting station over there on 8 Mile and met you. And actually, you were a staff sergeant at the time, but you pinned your E7 like maybe 30 days after that. It wasn't long because I remember you had cards.
Oh,
and you was passing out them cards, and you was like, it's not staff sergeant, was sergeant first class. Sergeant first class. So I remember and then like I said, being a future soldier, we had to learn the ranks, so we was learning that, and I'm like, okay, so yeah, E7 now. Oh wow, this is
yeah, that was because I made some first class, I think March or April of 2011, I think it was.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I had all them staff sergeant cards. I'm like, no, I'm not a freaking staff sergeant.
And look, you was happy. You was real happy. My mom was doing all that yapping. I was like, man, this man is gonna cuss my mama out. Tell her this is not how the Army goes. And you didn't do none of that. You let her have it. You let her talk. You stood there, and you was so happy. Just here's my card. I got you. You and your daughter. And I'm not worried about nothing.
That's it.
So that was comforting. Like I said, I know my mom is much. I remember getting out of basic, like I remember being in the basic training where they have the graduation and standing behind the curtains. I got promoted out of basic to PFC, and I remember my mom having to pin me. And before we just standing there at I think it was at attention, and everybody like, hutch, your mama here. And I'm like, how y'all know that's my mama?
Right.
Thousands people out here, like, how y'all know this mama? I'm like, no, Hutch, this your mama. We know. So
yes.
So thank you so much for just working with me and her, because she is a handful. I would have been overwhelmed dealing with her, but you worked it out. Got me in. Even after I didn't ship the first time, remember I stayed a little bit.
Oh yes. Because correct me if I'm wrong, we were still trying to get paperwork from Lancaster, California, correct?
So no, the hold-up delay. Okay, so when I came, that was a delay. They took too long. But remember, I was pregnant and I didn't know.
That's right.
I didn't know. And I ended up terminating the pregnancy. I didn't go through because of course I was like wanting to do everything Army. And so I had to wait. It was me. I remember me, and it was Sonia Short.
Yeah. Yes. Yep.
It was both of us, and she ended up not shipping that day either. And she ended up getting a later date. I think we ended up shipping like not too far after each other.
It wasn't that far out.
Yeah, but we had to stay. Now I think I ended up having to wait. I think it was a good, if I'm not mistaken, like 9 months before I could leave again. And that's when, like I said, we had the whole spill of future soldier training. I got promoted. I left Detroit to PV2 because of you. So
yeah, because we used to have to do the what was that? They used to have the future soldier classes or something.
Mm-hmm. We did the classes, and if you passed the PT test, you could do like one or other, or you could do both or something. Yeah. So I would always mess my tape up. I would kill the tape like just by a little bit. So I never even tried the PT test, but I know like you was on me about making sure I stayed on top of the books and everything. So it was an easy transition. It was worth the wait too. It was definitely worth the wait.
It was all God's timing. You know what I mean? It was all God's timing. I seen a
lot in them 9 months. I seen a lot, and I still have a lot of friends, of course, battles that we train with. Chris Anderson, I know you remember him. My mama still loves him. Lord Jesus.
Where is he at right now?
He's in California.
He's still in?
No, he got out. He got out. He got out a little before me, actually. He got out a little before me. But he's in California. He is really close to my brother, believe it or not.
Wow. I remember his sister. I think you had already shipped, but his sister was in the program as well.
She came after. I think he was telling me that she was interested or something. Yep,
she ended up joining. She sure did. Christopher Anderson. Oh,
him. Who else? I cannot remember his name, and I know you remember. But we used to train with him. He was a future soldier. He had hair at the time, but I know he was gonna have to cut it. And remember, he had a baby. And his child's mother passed like right when he left. Like he shipped.
I could see the face. I can't. I can't think of the name, but I know exactly who you're talking about.
I'm still mutual friends with him. And I still talk to my girl, Cotton.
Oh, for real? Wow.
Yep. No, I still talk to Cotton. So she ain't Cotton no more, but I talk to Cotton.
Because I remember her brother joined too. Her brother joined. He joined the reserves, if I remember right.
Yep.
That's the beauty. She got kids now?
Yep, 2 little girls, and she's still married. But yeah, the beauty in just enlisting and training and joining together. I call it the battle buddy system, of course.
Yeah. That's what it was. And I think the Army is the only profession, probably other professions are like that, but I think it's the only profession where if I don't see you for 15 years and I just happen to pass you in the mall, all it takes is, it's like when we got on, it was like, yo! And so everything you talking about, we hadn't seen each other outside of Facebook, 10 years maybe?
It's been
because you left. You shipped in 2012.
I was 18 years old.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
I was 18 because I turned 19 in basic. I left in October. So I was 18. I remember because when I met you, I was 17.
That's right. That's right.
I remember, I remember when I did.
Now, for the folks that's listening, she met me when she was 17. We're talking about U.S. Army enlisting, parental consent, signed the form. Just want to make sure.
My mama brought me to the man.
I just want to make sure, because I know it's a dude and I know it's a R&B guy that's in jail because of certain things.
Oh my Lord!
Just want to be clear.
No. Definitely got the young soldiers, man. We needed it.
Yeah, I tell you, it was. We talked about it before we got on, but like your mom, out of all the future soldier moms, she was the one that I always remember. Because I remember coming to the house and you was like, she gonna grill you, she gonna interrogate you. Why is my daughter joining? What is the intention of the Army? Where's the Army going? This and that. And I remember, like you said earlier, I just sat in the chair, just let her talk. But I always told people I had a special thing for the folks that was, from Detroit, because I was from Detroit. So you guys walked the same streets I walked on, even though you was an east side, I was a west sider.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But, we still walked the same streets. We knew the same language. So it was imperative to me to make sure you guys were good. It was almost like the extended children, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
We needed it. We needed it. I could tell the difference in leadership being at a recruiting station in Lancaster, California, where I was, versus coming to Detroit. And I could hear my dad in my ear on one shoulder, like, I don't know why you leaving, and, you going back over there, and, ain't no help, ain't no this. And I'm just like, I can't deal with, what I was dealing with there going through the pageant world. I might as well go back home. And, I can face the music there. Yeah. So, coming to 8 Mile and, walking into recruiting station and getting help, and good help, like I said, beyond help, more than what I bargained for, is, like I said, we beyond grateful and blessed, because getting in was one transition and then getting out was another. And so I always tell people my transition into the military was beautiful. I don't regret nothing. I felt like God took me on a journey those 9 months that I had to stay back home. Yep. And I don't even know if you remember, but I had to bury so many of my friends in those 9 months. Yeah. And that was the only time that I would not come to future soldier training, is if I had to go to a funeral. Yeah. And I remember. I had a few that summer. It got to a point where I just kept wearing the same outfit. Like, and you were super close to me along up until, my shipping, and you knew my schedule. You knew if I wasn't at work, I was at future soldier training, or I was at home. But if I rarely ever spent any time at home, I was making $7.25 at that McDonald's, and I spent all my time up there. Yeah. All my time up there. Yeah. Just to get past the calendar. Like, I just got to ship. That's all I want to do, is just get out of Detroit and just see something else. And that was my point of joining, because I had been to Detroit all my life, and leaving and going to California was beautiful, but it wasn't for me. I knew I wasn't going to live the life I wanted to live. Wasn't in California. Your path. Couldn't do it. Yeah. And so the military was truly my way out. And then, like I said, having to sit there for the 9 months, burying my friends, I just was wanting a chance to see something else. And so when I enlisted, I think when I initially enlisted, they had me down for like the 89, I think it was 89, but I'm like ammunition specialist or something. And I remember you telling me, like, it's a good job or whatever, but you're not going to like that. You might want to just, since you have to wait, just assess your options, and I was like, you're right. And I did. I changed fields. I went in, I was signal. So I was 25 uniform. Mm-hmm. And I got all my certs while I was in. Super good job. Super, super good job. And I just wanted to leave. I got to come to Georgia, the place I always wanted to be. Yeah. Went a couple other places that I didn't think I would go, but the military was a chance for me. I felt like to leave. I wanted to leave Detroit, and I wanted to just have a chance. I'm actually in the process in the next couple of months of moving back home to Michigan. Okay. I am. So I'm nervous. So pray for me. But
I will. Lord knows I will.
I'm not gonna be in Detroit, but just being close enough is just a little mind-boggling for me. Like I said, me on and offline. I love home, but I don't care to live there. But I'm going back on a purpose. So understood. I'm gonna do what I need to do. I give myself 4 years, and then I'm gonna leave. Yeah. But I would just wanted to make it out. Like, I really did. And I just wanted to see something else. Every time I come back home, my friends tell me the same thing. Like, dang, you really left. And they still in the same houses that we was playing in and stuff. They mama done gave them the house. So now they in it with their kids.
Exactly. And those are some of the things I used to talk about, even for me, during the time I grew up. Oh, man, you leaving, man. You going this, that, and the third. But I still go visit. I don't go home as much, because I have a little Detroit-itis sometimes, and that's okay. But when I go home, these cats are still doing the same stuff. It's like, man, it's like wash, rinse, and repeat. It's like, oh my gosh, you can't continue to do this. We was doing this in 89 and 90. I know I'm telling my age here, But you know, I'm like, come on, man. And, oh man, you left, man. You know what I'm saying? Things ain't been the same since you left. I'm like, dude, you gotta at some point you have to worry about you. You know what I mean? You have to be selfish, you know, to ensure that you have that quality of life you want.
Exactly. And I think one thing the military definitely taught me was I feel like I already possessed this skill, but I definitely feel like the military enhanced it.
Yeah.
But I definitely feel like my ability to adapt, not just survive, because people can survive under whatever conditions. Survival is one thing, but my ability to adapt, to excel and do well in a new place, because people can't take change. And we know military, you got about 2-3 years of this and we on to the next, if that.
On to the next one. So let's just backtrack a little bit. You talk about experiences. Now I remember you did a rotation in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about that, because that was one of those 8-month.
It was. I was gone 9. I went
9 months. Okay.
Yep, I went 9 months with them. That was my first real travel with the military. My first assignment. I never deployed while I was in, but I did go on the rotations. I went on 2, and that first one was the 9-month one. We were in Germany. We went to Latvia. It was Germany, Latvia, Bulgaria. We went to a few different places, but most of my time was spent in Germany. That time for me was an emotional one, because I had just came off of postpartum. So my rotation is honestly what made me, and the presidential campaign at the time, but mainly the timing of my rotation really put a bad taste in my mouth with the military. And it was one of the main reasons why I didn't renew my contract with the military. Of course, at the time regulations changed, but at the time the regulation was that they give the female soldiers you get I think it was 3 to 6 months, somewhere in there, before you could be war ready. They'll do your postpartum, put you back on the field. So but I did not know, and this is why reading is very fundamental. You can still technically, I don't want to call it deploy because it wasn't a deployment, but again, you can still details, they can send you out or whatever. They can still do all that with you on amber. I was on yellow, because you have the different status. So I was on yellow. Yep. So I still got to go just based on the demand of the need of my job. They sent me Avon. So my son, I had my son in August. I left in March. Soon, and I was breastfeeding. It was like literally like right after he turned 6 months. They was like, bye. So I was super upset. And being in the military, especially all the time you had in. Like I said, I served my term, but you serve multiple, so I know you know what I mean. And I hate to say this, but you meet soldiers, specifically the female ones, but you'll meet some male soldiers too. Will try anything to get out of a deployment, a detail. And I knew right then and there, when I got my orders to leave, I knew that I wasn't going to re-enlist, because I couldn't be a half-ass soldier. I knew that while I was serving, I was going to serve 110%, right hand to the sky. It is what it is. It's what I need to do. It's what I signed up for, because it is. So I went. I was not happy. I did not like bubbles in my water. Everything was acidic. Everything is like shut down. Like on Monday and Sunday, I personally, I could not enjoy Germany the way I would have liked to. Just because of circumstances. Now, Germany was beautiful. I learned a lot. It was a good experience. It was. But I don't think people take into consideration the mindset of soldiers when they go on over there, what they are sacrificing and giving up. It was times that I was out there and we didn't do nothing but go out there and train, gunnery, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't anything mandatory. I felt like that we couldn't do stateside, but again, obviously it was, needs of the Army. And I remember training, we were in Poland, and it was cold. It was like April. It was cold as hell.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember just laying in there. We were doing gunnery or something like that, whatever. And I'm just laying there with my weapon or whatever. And all I'm thinking is, wow, like, I am missing out on so much right now. Like, my baby could be teething.
Exactly.
He be trying to hold his neck up.
Exactly.
Like, you know, and it's somebody right now just laying in their bed, watching cartoons, flicking through channels. Don't know I gotta walk 2 miles in all this gear with 2 guns if I need to go pee. Like, and as a female, my first unit, I was in a support unit, but the unit that I went overseas with, I was with combat engineers. So of course,
that's a whole different
I'm the only
beast.
Female, So, man, listen, the military taught me a lot, but the ability to adapt is my favorite one, because no matter what circumstance, condition, or atmosphere, I know that I could adhere, and
that's it.
And like I said, excel is the beauty in it, because an animal can survive. You know?
Exactly.
But to be able to excel is the blessing. So I'm happy about that.
And then you learn and grow. With the whole Germany thing, I would tell you, I did 3 years in Germany. I had my wife and my daughter was stationed. I was stationed.
Oh,
we were stationed.
The people that were stationed in Germany was so happy.
Is different. I'm telling you, it is different versus going on a rotation. 3 years in Germany. I mean, it was Austria, all these different places. It's even like in Korea. You do your tour in Korea, you still got some privileges to do things. But if you go to Korea on a rotation, it's limited. So that's what you experienced in Germany. You experienced the limitations. I can't go here, I can't go there. I'm in uniform probably 700% out of the time. But if you're stationed there, you're free in a sense. If that makes sense.
You can sightsee and you can
do things.
Stuff.
Yep.
They try to give us some passes and stuff like that. They did a few times in the first couple of months. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't take advantage of it. I was cooped up. Like, no, I will sit down out here.
Right.
But eventually I was like, you know, I'm gonna be here, so might as well take a look. See.
Yeah.
So
see what's around.
Where did we go? We went to Wiesbaden. Wiesbaden was cute. It was nice out there.
Yeah.
And then we went to another place. I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head.
It was like Ramstein, K-Town.
Yes, there it is. Ramstein. Everybody loved
Ramstein. Had that huge PX.
Yes.
Yep. Ramstein was spending a lot of money in Ramstein. And K-Town, Kaiserslautern, and that's like little America. Yeah. It's a beautiful country.
It is, and I wish I had been in a better mindset to take advantage. But again, like I said, I don't think people think about that. People just you know. So had I not just had a baby, I probably would have been like excited.
Yeah. And then, you know, that's your priority. I mean, you're a mother, you know. That's the thing about the military. You know, some units kind of, you know, massage some of those things, but it's difficult, man. When that balloon goes up, when it's time to go, it's hard to, well, you know, I still got to drop my kid off. And it's like, okay, you still need to be here. Figure it out. Family care plan. You know what I mean? So that's why I applaud, you know, the single mothers and the single fathers that's out there that had to do that, because it could be very stressful. Oh, by the way, you still got 10 Joes that you're trying to take care of. It's like, you want me to take care of these guys, but I can't take care of my own flesh and blood. So it could be very difficult. Very difficult. Let's talk about, you got something to say?
I say, yeah, definitely difficult. Yep.
Let's talk about, you enlisted.
Yep.
You're in the Army, you served. Now you're out of the Army. What has life been like for you once you got that DD-214 in your hand?
So, like I told you, you transitioned me into the military was super smooth. And that's why I feel like leadership is so important. Guidance is important. Mentorship is important. Health is wealth. Wealth is health. All of that.
Yeah.
Right? Knowledge is power, for real. Yep. And I really made a good transition into the military, eager and all that good stuff on my way out. I don't want to say complete inverse my personal characteristics still very eager, still
Right.
wanting to, get out there. I'm feeling like I'm closing this chapter. How do I take these resources and apply them into my civilian life?
That's it.
So I'm personally feeling ready to do so. But I did not have any real guidance getting out the military at all. I struggled so hard getting out the military. My transition was terrible. Just not knowing what was entitled to me. I was literally rushed through the ACAT process. By the time I got back from my rotation, I was already less than 90 days out of my contract. So
that's too late right there.
Already, like if you know you're not staying in the military, you need to be thinking a year at least in advance on what you can do with a plan. And at the time when I came back from my rotation, I knew that I wanted to get out in a sense. I was really on the fence. And had I been under the right leadership, I probably would have re-enlisted. Seriously, I probably would have. But I didn't have anybody there saying, "Hey, specialist, this is what you need to do in this window. Have you took a look at that?" Like, it was none of that. I was an acting sergeant for my company. I was an acting commo sergeant. So they already looking at me like, "Oh, you technically almost NCO, so you should know." And I'm just like, "No, I'm still this rank not lying to y'all.
Yeah.
I'm specialist. Like, I'm not putting on here, y'all. Like, I'm not a corporal. I'm not none of that. I am a specialist. I'm not even promotable. I'm just a specialist. You know what I'm saying?" And so that's how untouched I was, and I felt like a diamond in the rough almost. You know what I'm saying? I could have used definitely some grooming and just guidance. Me, dog. All you had to do was tell me, and I would for sure, adhere. So I didn't have any guidance. Like I said, I got out not knowing what was entitled to me as far as claims go, and making sure you got your paperwork, and they got seminars now to where you can sign up for different seminars and work for the VA. You know what I'm saying? Hey,
they have all these work. They have all the. I mean to cut you off. They have all these work programs where you can do like 6-month internships, if you will, apprenticeships, and all that. Yeah.
And I knew nothing. And so when I got out, I literally got my little unemployment, and I knew my own self, and just based off the little reading and everything that I did know, go to school. So I did that. They don't tell you, "Oh, when you go to school, it's paid in the rear." So you gonna go maybe 2 if you defending. And then you're gonna get paid, and it'll pick up, and so I was super behind it. At the time of my transition, I was trying to go in and see about my health and stuff, and I finally got approved for a breast reduction. I really wanted to get a breast reduction at the time. I had my son not too long prior, and my back was just, it was just done. I was done. And I went in, come like the end of my contract. At this point in time, I'm still technically on leave, but I still technically belong to the military at this time. So I go to Augusta for my consultation, and these people tell me they found a lump. And they started treating me immediately for stage 4 breast cancer, but they never diagnosed me. They just started treatment, and treatment went on for about 60 to 90 days till I finally was like, "Y'all need to tell me what's wrong." Like, I'm not.
You can't keep, at some point you can't keep cutting up the food. You got to cook it at some point. What's happening?
Man, so all this is going on in my window of transition. You know what I'm saying? And so I ended up, like I said, doing treatment and all that stuff, but it ended up taking me away from school because I feel like most people say, I didn't feel sick until they told me I was sick. So, I ended up having to leave school. My attendance was just so bad from just, everything. I ended up getting out of school, and, there was my little bit of money that I was getting, and you know what I'm saying? So it had a trickle effect. I ended up having to sell my house, just out of fear of losing it. Like, I can't afford to stay on top of it, and I don't know when I'll be able to. So it was a blessing, even in a disguise then, because I bought my house for one set amount and I ended up selling for almost double. So that ended up working out. Ended up not having cancer. It wasn't cancer at all. It was very common. Yeah, that's what I said. God be working. So it's a common, apparently a common disease in young black women. It's called fibroadenoma.
I've heard of it.
So yeah, so if young ladies, black women specifically, if you don't know about it, read up on it, get checked. If they tell you too young to get a mammogram, tell them I don't care, it runs in my family. Even if you're lying, tell them it runs in your family, because they won't check you, and they don't feel like you're a target, but we are. Yeah. So I did get it removed some time later and stuff like that, but all of that happened at this transitional time. You know, I eventually ended up getting around some old battle buddies from prior to that ended up getting out sometime either right after or soon after me. That was able to kind of aid and guide me with just some stuff I needed to do and stuff, and got me on the right track. Me myself, I'm a very marketable person. I was building my resume while I was in the military. I had got my realtor's license. I got my freight broker's license while I was in. I got my associates while I was in, all of it. So I got a lot of my certifications. Like I said, I could work on a computer. All my A+ certs, I was IT certified to do whatever I need to do. So getting out the military, I just didn't know how. I didn't know how. And so when I finally just, I guess, like I said, surrounded myself with people who knew, and then really just mustered up the courage of myself. Like, you know what? Listen, it's not the military no more. This is literally limitless civilian life. Yeah. So take what you know, apply it, and just go from there.
That's it. And then also you had to think about you're a mother as well. You know what I mean? So that was a lot. So what I'm saying is, it was so much stress on your plate, leaving the Army, that transition, your son, ensuring that his quality of life is good to go. How do you make you guys' quality of life even better than it was? I mean, so I applaud you on that, because a lot of people, they buckle under pressure. A lot of people buckle.
Well, I always tell people, if you can make it out of Detroit, you got it.
That's true. Because Detroit eats its own sometimes.
It's terrible. It is terrible. And I feel like only we know, a lot of people talk about crime and just, what they expose to in a different exposure, and just all the shenanigans. I feel like you'll never find a kind like where we come from. Yeah. And if you can make it out of there, you really truly can make it anywhere. So no matter what is presented to me here, even just getting out the military, knowing nobody, like I said, I'm here in Georgia, and like we talked about, I'm from Detroit, but I don't have a piece of family, still don't have a piece of family in Georgia. So a lot of it was figuring it out myself. Yep. I was dual military for a little while I was in, but at the time of my separation from the Army, I was already pending a divorce. Right. So he was already out the picture. I was already doing my single mommy thing prior to me even leaving for the rotation. I asked my husband at the time for a divorce right before I left. When I knew that I was leaving, I asked my husband for a divorce. So we had been separated then. We had unenrolled in MACP. So he had came down on orders to go somewhere else. So we were already, separated. So I really truly was on my own. But it's strengthened that, you know what I'm saying? And it's definitely a mental thing. And I just thought about my friends. I really did. I thought about my friends who couldn't be here or who would want to be here in my shoes, and they wouldn't fold. They would want to be here. So problem solving is the first thing. Just
the most important person besides yourself that witnessed all this was your son.
Oh yeah,
he saw that mom has the strength, the intestinal fortitude, all the attributes that make people successful. He sees that. So when he turns 15, 20, 30, they think about those things. And if mom can get through this, I know she went through everything, I can get through it too. And if he feels like he's struggling, he got a trusted confidant in you to say, hey, how did you attack this situation? You know what I mean? So kudos to you, man. That is strength. Strength, as we used to say, strength and honor.
It is. It is.
So let's talk about, I'm going to hit you, you know, people always had like these rapid fire questions. So I'm going to ask you, what was your favorite thing about the Army? What put a smile on your face? What woke you up in the morning in a good mood? What was that about the Army?
About the military? I want to say to people I want to say a bunch of things, honestly. It was a lot of pros for me personally, you know, waking up knowing I'm helping, I'm a part of a team, you know, I'm a strong individual myself.
Right.
I'm a force. But I feel like you have to be, to me, in my eyes, you have to be a little stronger, a little more complex and dimensional to be a part of a team. And the Army is, you know, and it felt good to be a part of that mass, you know, to wake up knowing that there ain't a lot of us getting up right now. But we getting up, we about to go run.
Yeah.
We about to go do this. I
Rain,
love
sleet, or
Cadence.
snow.
Singing Cadence was my favorite. Singing Cadence got me promoted out of basic, just for the record. Because I went through a lot at the time back home. I was still writing my mom back and forth. And, you know, it was still a lot going on back home in Detroit. I was still losing friends. And they ended up breaking into our house. My mom, they broke it, believe it or not, they broke into the house right before I left, and I was in it. I don't know if I told you that story, but
you know what? I think I do. I think I remember that. I think I do.
It was right before I shipped. They broke into the house, and I was in it. And my mom, that was the first time I had ever seen my mama cry. That was the first time. I never seen my mama cry. She was in pieces when she came home, and I was there, and she just, it was a mess, but it felt good. But to stick to the question though, it felt good to be a part of the team though, and that's what I felt like being in the Army. You know what I'm saying? Waking up knowing that I had a job to do, that this soul thing was just my mission, my purpose, and I just needed to excel in it, and that was it, you know. So coming from where I come from, it felt good to be a part of that. What they say, the 1%, the 10%.
The 1%. That's it, the 1%.
And knowing I'm doing the right thing, it's easy to do the wrong thing. It's easy to do, you know what I'm saying, the bad stuff. You know, I wanted to have a chance to do something right. So knowing that I was doing something that was benefiting me and other people is what kept me going. Like, you know, it was a lot. You know, I couldn't wait to get the uniform. I remember being in future soldier training, like, I can wait to get the boots and And people will tell you, like, when people be in for so long, they be like, I hate the uniform, I hate this. And not me. Every day I got up, like, I was cute, you know, and we couldn't even do the things that they let them do now. The regulation, you could wear earrings and your ponytail out.
Yeah, they relaxed a lot of things now.
They couldn't even, but I felt good knowing, you know, even with all regulation going on, I just felt like, you know, this is standard. I am the standard. I look good. You can't say nothing to me.
Yeah.
My boots is good. My uniform is fine. So that it's a lot that poured into, you know, what got me up out the bed. But it for sure, in the morning, I hated PT, but I love Cadence.
Cadence,
Even if false motivation is better than none. So if I just come out there and stretch, okay. So
that's it. You said something. You talking about how everything was in the Army. You took the hard right over the easy left. You know what I mean? That's what you did. Because it's so easy to like you talking about getting out of situations. Oh, I can't go on this detail because I got to go to sick call. He was like, hey, let me push through. So since we talked about your favorite thing, what surprised you about the Army? What was it like when you first got to your duty station? You was like, WTF, Staff Sergeant Anderson didn't say this.
So, believe it or not, it took me a while before I had my first WTF in the military, because coming from where I was coming from, I was just in awe. I was just like, still so happy to be a part. You know me, like I said, on and offline, I'm super positive. So I don't harp, and I'm not a complainer by far. So I will not complain, none of that. So It took me a while to get to my WTF moment. But my WTF moment in the military came when I just had finally, I'm going to say had it, but then at the same time realized and accepted. You were bringing it out because I don't like saying bad stuff about the Army, but I really was like, this is really real. I could not believe how sexist some of the people were. At first, we joke about it. It's funny. Oh, ha, ha, ha.
Yeah.
But then it comes to a point where you are really like, okay, it's almost like a state of mind for some soldiers.
It is. And it's for some people, it's a rite of passage. You know what I mean?
I have no idea. And like I said, if you know me, then you know I'm super mission first. That's before the military. I'm super, what do we need to do? Let's get it done. Let's do it right so we ain't got to come back. Cool. And no, like even with that attitude, me, like, you know, and like I said, you run across people in the military, female soldiers especially, who find any reason to detour or around or just anything, you know. Sometimes I found myself saying, you know, the Army is like high school all over again.
It is.
But I just could not believe how sexist, you know, the men were sometimes. I couldn't believe it. I really couldn't. I had only my little time in, I had only filed one complaint the whole time. And that's literally when I just had it. I was at my wit's end. I ended up having to file a complaint on my whole shop because I had a E7 long story short, I'm not even gonna make it long. I had an E7. He had been in 21 years and never had a female soldier. I had just came off of my postpartum and my brigade had shut down. So of course they moved all the soldiers. So my first move before I got to my combat engineer unit, they put me in an infantry unit. And only female in the battalion.
Right.
I was the ant in the milk as well. And then they did not know, like I said, how to really lead me. I'm going to postpartum PT. He telling me he don't know what that is. He trying to write me up. I'm like, darn, like what are you talking about? I'm on the phone with my postpartum NCO. Like, what do you mean? Like, so it wasn't that I filed a complaint on. It was, like I said, the more sexist thing. That was just example on, and I don't want to use this word, but just how ignorant they were with just diversity. You know what I'm saying? With just diversity. But it just came a point where I was a part of the team, and we had a gas mask detail. And like I said, I just came off from postpartum, and they were cleaning the gas masks. They had them like in two big old trash cans. And of course they had their tops off. So they dropped me off. Hey Craig, you can go over here, clean these gas masks with the crew, blah blah. Not a problem, sorry, wherever you need me. So I get over there, I'm cleaning the gas mask. He said, hey soldier, you need to take your fucking top off. And I was like, oh, with all due respect, son, I'm perfectly fine with doing what you need me to do with my top on.
I don't have to do this.
Everything, you know, I can do everything you need me to do with my shirt on. It's not a problem. No, I said you're going to take your fucking top off.
That was the mentality. Sad to say.
I'm not going to take my top off, Sergeant. Unfortunately, if you don't understand that, I want to go ahead and use the open door policy and talk to first sergeant.
And let's just use a disclaimer for the non-military. When someone says take your top off, they're talking about the blouse or the jacket, if you will. I know in the Marines we call them blouses, but it's your jacket and you have your brown shirt up under. Again, just for the non-military folks. Want to make sure.
So we weren't topless cleaning the mask, y'all, but like he said, he would ask me to take my jacket off, and it's not that I felt uncomfortable. I just didn't want to. I just didn't feel the need to. That wasn't necessary. I felt like it wasn't necessary. Whether I felt comfortable or not, it wasn't necessary.
Exactly.
And I ended up having to go talk to the first sergeant, and first sergeant pretty much told me, like, take your fucking top off. And I was like, okay, so I want to talk to the sergeant major. You know, it just went up. And so they finally let me talk to the sergeant major. He was a black guy. He was the black guy of the whole brigade, and he was the only other ant in the brigade.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a one-on-one. It was me, him, and it was another lieutenant, female lieutenant, just for visual purposes.
Yeah.
And we talked, and he told me, he was like, I can move you specialist. It's not a problem. I'll put you in the support, the support company.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. It'll start effective tomorrow. I said, with all due respect, Sergeant Major, I don't want to be a part of your brigade at all. Your whole battalion,
Yeah.
I want to be part of none of your battalion. You need to move me all the way, or I'm going to go to IG.
Yeah.
This is not, this problem is not just here. This is spread upon. I don't want to have anything to do with your brigade, sir. So please move me.
Yep.
And he did. The next day I was in a whole nother place with the combat engineers. And so
the problem with that type of mindset, it pollinates, like you said, just because if I'm part of 123 brigade and I move to a battalion within that brigade, it's still under that brigade. It's the same freaking problems. And a lot of times with these, in some places, these combat jobs, these combat engineers or whatever combat related MOSs, it's male dominated. And, they try to go through the diversity training, men, women, black, white, or whatever. But as a leader, you still should be able to read the room. Okay, I'm a staff sergeant and I got 15 Joes. One Joe is a female. If I'm telling all the Joes to take their top off, you can make it optional. What? You got to use the language. It's certain things you have to watch as a leader. Not giving these guys an out, but you go so many years was just dudes. And all of a sudden the Army says, hey, here's 3 females. Figure it out. And a lot of these guys, they just don't figure out, but that's due to that's ignorance, So I've seen that, witnessed that, corrected that on many levels, but it's one of those things. It's a systemic problem that goes on, not just the Army, it's society as a whole.
It is.
We just have to continue to get educated. We have to continue to talk. People have to be held accountable for those type of actions. And that's the problem. No one's getting fired. No one's not getting held accountable.
And that's what makes people think that it's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Unfortunately.
So let's move on from that one. I feel I want to put my master sergeant back and start correcting folks again. So let's talk about lessons. We'll wrap it up here. Let's talk about lessons from the Army that you apply in your daily life, whether it's motherhood, whether it's working. What lessons from the Army that you apply on a daily basis?
All of them. Yeah. All of them. Today,
Yep.
I was just sitting at my desk today. I'm a property manager now. I just got promoted, and so
congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
I've been working in the housing field since I was in the military. I was doing some stuff alongside Keller Williams, Caldwell Banker while I was in. And so when I got out, I had a few offers from them, and it ended up working out. And so I've been in property management and real estate since. And I deal with residents all the time, completely civilians. Most of them do not have any military background or bearing or anything. And so I always pride myself on how well I speak to people and just handling people, period. I feel like my choice of diction is always on point. My professionalism is on point. My body language. I'm very proud of myself. I really pride myself on that. And so I was just literally sitting in my office today, and was this lady was going off in all of my ears, blah, blah, blah. And I said what I said. We had a little, back and forth, and I ended up hanging up the phone. And I just remember getting off the phone and just, smiling to myself like, no one is more professional than I.
Come on now, NCO Creed.
Like, I swear, I just was like, oh man, like, and in that moment, I always tell myself like, man, and I sometimes wish I could have stayed in just so I can lead, and be that guidance I wanted as a young female soldier, as a young single mom, a young Black girl in the military. I really wanted to stay in. I really did. I didn't get out with a smile on my face like people do. Like, I can't do this. I was really kind of sad for real, because I didn't know how to maintain and stay in the military with everything I had going on. I didn't know how, to adapt if I wanted to get out, but eventually it came a point where I didn't have a choice. So, I always tell myself, thank God for professionalism. If they would have gave me them stripes, they sure wouldn't have regretted it. Cause listen here, I'm the one.
Yeah.
Being early is on time. Hurry up and wait.
Yeah. Being early is on time. Being on time is late. Telling you.
There we go. That one. But my favorite one that I always every day I apply myself from the time I wake up to just everything is truly mission first. Truly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
already
saying?
have an embedded battle rhythm that you follow.
Yep. Truly mission first. So I'm really big on making myself like to-do list and goals and stuff like that. And it may be, I do weekly ones, right?
Yep.
But I have a daily thing where I have like my 3 little goals, my baby step goals or whatever, just to-do list.
Yeah.
And it's always mission first for me. So by the time I wake up, I already know what I need. Oh, today, Thursday, okay, I need to make sure blah. So I'm super, mission oriented. I want to make sure that I'm doing everything I need to do. Yep. So it could be something small, like make sure you call the VA back. Make sure you go, run by the bank. But it's always mission first for me. And that's what the military taught me. At first, I was like, mission first, but I got to go get my baby. What y'all talking about?
Yeah.
But even now, like I said, my day-to-day, and I tell my son that. I tell him, he'll be 8, and I tell him, what do you need to do today? Did you accomplish your mission for the day? And every time I say mission, everybody, it's that military talking. I don't ever think of it. I just be like, but it is like a mission.
It is. It is a mission. It is a mission. You try to prioritize what are the priorities today? What needs to be accomplished today? What can I shift and move? And you got to be sometimes you got to be vulnerable when you're doing those type of things. You definitely have to be flexible. Mm-hmm. Can I shift this to tomorrow? Can I do this? I was always a fan of, I talked about this in a few episodes ago. I was always a fan of, if we have a meeting, command and staff, whatever type of meeting it is. If the meeting is happening on a Wednesday, your prep, especially if you was briefing, your prep should start that Sunday maybe. That Sunday or Monday. Rehearse what you're talking about. Do some research on what you're talking about. Because when you start briefing in front of these generals and all these other folks, you got to be on time, on target. They know he just read this morning versus, are you really knowledgeable with this? And then that can prove dividends for you as you escalate up the ladder. So
for sure.
All right, so I guess go ahead. I'm sorry.
I say, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
So I guess we'll close it out. Before we close it out, do you have any businesses or anything you want to plug?
No, not at the moment. I don't. I'm enjoying my privacy right now.
Understood.
I don't have any pages or anything. I do have my own business. I started in honor of my brother after his passing. So if anybody wants to follow Martell's Merch on Facebook, you can like our page. I'm a party merchandise company, but I'm servicing Savannah right now. And then when I go back home to Detroit, I'll be servicing, the Detroit area. So, but for now, if y'all just want to spread some love, definitely like us on Facebook at Martell's Merch.
And I'll put that and I'm sorry, I'll put that link in the description as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't have much to say. Thank you for taking the time to talk to me. I was eager to talk about just that, man, for real, because you never know, you know what I'm saying? Even in my family, I have a little cousin. He's a federal agent now, but he joined the Navy some time after I had left for the Army, and he's not like a close cousin or anything, but he always reach out to me and he tell me how I inspire him. I tell him, like, because nobody else went to the military. Nobody else in my family. I was the first little one. And, so it was good to cross that bridge and, make that happen. But I'm just happy for my transition in, and I'm grateful for you, thankful for you and your knowledge, your leadership, all of that on the way in, because that was a dynamic time for me. Truly changed my life for sure. Would not be where I am, who I am today, without the people who helped me get in and the people who were in with me, all of that, the whole experience, you know. So I'm grateful for the Army. My recruiter, people always saying that recruiter lied to them, not mine. Not mine.
Yeah, I didn't lie.
So, can't relate.
I did not lie.
I mean, no, I'm just super grateful, like I said, and just thank you so much. You know, hugs to the family. God bless you all.
Appreciate you.
You know, but thank you for just letting me tell my own little spill. Hopefully, you know, it'll motivate somebody, keep you going, and you know, don't fold, don't give up, one day at a time.
I like that. Don't fold. Don't fold. I ain't no card. I ain't folding. So appreciate it. Again, I thank you for your service as well. Appreciate you doing everything that you're doing, getting yourself together, your son together, getting both of y'all together. I know you get ready to make this transition from your current location to Detroit. That's and I guess
keep me in your prayers.
Yeah, we know our city. God dog, we love the 313. Sometimes the 313. That's another conversation. So definitely appreciate it's trust and believe. It can get cold and that joke can get hot. It's never warm. And we ain't talking about the weather, y'all.
Yeah,
we ain't talking about the weather. So
if you know, you know.
If you know, you know. So appreciate it. Thanks again. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. We will be in touch.
No doubt. All right.
All right.